Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Upshift Podcast. The podcast is all about racing. It's not just Formula Racing. I keep messing up on the intro. It is just racing. Today, we are going to be reviewing the qualifying for the Grand Prix on Saturday. I'll explain this a bit more to you guys. Grand Prix this week is the Great Britain, or the English Grand Prix at Silverstone. And it is the first weekend that F1 is going to be trying the sprint qualifying format for this year. I believe it is three races or three Grand Prix weekends that we will see this format used. So on Friday, there's going to be one practice session, and then there will be qualifying for the sprint race on Saturday. After qualifying, there's going to be another practice, FP2, just before the sprint qualifying race. The sprint qualifying race on Saturday will be a 17-lap race, and the top three, and the finishing order is the order for the Grand Prix on Sunday. The top three on the podium get points. P1 gets 3 points, P2 gets 2 points, and P3 gets 1 singular point. And then that obviously sees the pecking order for the actual main Grand Prix on Sunday afternoon. So yeah, that is what the entire Grand Prix is. So this will be 3 videos this weekend, so I hope you guys will enjoy them. So today we'll be talking about the qualifying for the actual race, the sprint race this weekend, and what a qualifying we had. It was so good. Like, we had outstanding performances from the Brits this weekend. A comeback driver that I've been doubting, and I still doubt, to be honest. A guy who I knew he was going to struggle, and he did struggle. So let's just talk about it. But in Q1, we saw a bunch of people get eliminated, obviously. We saw Mazepin and Schumacher. It was known that they were going to get out. Latifi, Raikkonen, and Tsunoda. Raikkonen and Tsunoda are actually people I didn't think that they would actually get out. I actually kind of expected Esteban Ocon to get out, I'll be honest, because the Alpine is great in a straight line. Because he's shown that in Austria, which is a very high-speed circuit, and I believe that Silverstone is also a high-speed circuit, and it's a bit like Austria, not fully like Austria, but it is a bit like Austria, as in high speed, sweeping corners, So Latifi actually came out and said that he would have gotten into Q2, maybe even Q3, but he was managing an engine issue this entire weekend, and hopefully they can get the car prepared before FP2 in about 6 hours from the time I'm recording this. But yeah, it is interesting to see how Latifi has been growing this whole season. He got into Q2 in Imola, and I definitely think he's been improving. He's definitely improved from last year. He's been way more consistent with his race pace, and his qualifying pace isn't great, but it is pretty decent. And I think he actually will improve and get points pretty soon for Williams. So how he will shine, only time will tell. So and Kimi Räikkönen is another guy I did not expect to get out in Q1. He looked really good throughout the early stages of qualifying, and I thought that he would get into Q2, but alas, he did not. He ended up down in 17th place, just behind Yuki Tsunoda, who again is the guy I'm actually not really surprised by Tsunoda, to be honest. He's been struggling this whole year, basically, so far at least, and that's not good for him, obviously, with Red Bull's patience being very short, especially for people like who get a lot of hype throughout their junior career and into F1, and then to them not performing. Red Bull doesn't allow that usually, which is stupid, obviously. But it's sad to see Yuki struggle like this. I believe, he's been 6th place. He wasn't actually that far off of Q2, I believe. He was just under a 10th off of Q2, which is good. But it's not the best. Obviously, it's not the best. I definitely think he could have improved. It's weird to see because Gasly is doing very well for himself at AlphaTauri, even though he got eliminated in Q2. But he's doing very well for himself, so it's odd to see Yuki struggle like this. So hopefully he'll get himself in check and his pace in check, so he will improve. Lance Stroll is in P15. Decent showing by him and the Aston Martins so far this year. Stroll actually being more consistent than Sebastian Vettel so far this year, in my opinion. So it's a bit odd to see him down in 15th place, but he is eliminated. Italian Jesus, or Antonio Giovinazzi, is down in 14th place, carrying that Alfa Romeo with good pace into P14 and into Q2. Esteban Ocon is not having the best of weeks recently. Getting eliminated in Q1 2 weeks in a row, but in both of the Austrian races, and not doing well in either of those races. He starts from P13. Esteban Ocon, he's had his struggles this whole year, and they have definitely outweighed the good that has come from this year, and Fernando Alonso has definitely outpaced him so far this year. Actually in these few weeks leading up to the English Grand Prix. And I think that Esteban Ocon has actually outpaced him in the earlier stages. I just don't know what happened to him in the last few rounds. He just doesn't seem to know what he's doing with the car. Doesn't seem to be very comfortable with it anymore. Even on one lap heat, he just doesn't seem comfortable. It seems very slow. He seems to just understeer in every corner. Alonso seems perfectly fine with it. So it's just a matter of, I guess, Ocon's driving style is not really suited to this year's Alpine, and especially with that big cooling tube. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm not sure what the name of it is. But his tallness, I believe Ocon is in American terms, in imperial terms, I believe. I believe he's 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", 6 feet 1 inch. So he is pretty tall for an F1 driver. So it's not, and he blocks some of the air tube. Alpine said, which is funny that they can't develop the car around the driver, it's kind of funny to me. So yeah, he's definitely struggling. So it's odd to see. But I think he'll try to find his pace, like he did last year. He struggled in the first few rounds, and then he actually picked up pace throughout the later stages of the season. And he got actually up to Ricciardo last year in the Renault of last year in the later rounds. And he actually got that podium in Sakir, so that was pretty decent. So yeah, how he will shine, only time will tell. But I think he will get decently improved throughout the season. Pierre Gasly, who has had a brilliant season so far in that AlphaTauri, has been definitely outpacing what he has under him. He comes in at P12. Decent for the AlphaTauri. It's pretty decent. It's okay for the AlphaTauri. I definitely think he could have gotten more. He was just 10th off of Q3, just under a 10th. Actually, no, almost exactly a 10th off of Q3. So very. Wait, actually no. Sorry, 4/10 off of Q3. 4/10 off of Q3. A Q3 appearance for the AlphaTauri. Gasly has been having a great season. He got that podium in Baku, and he's been performing pretty well. I definitely think he'll be. I think he'll be around P8, I believe. And he's shown the pace that he will. I think he'll show pretty well in tomorrow's race. I think he'll be qualifying. Again, this isn't the qualifying for the actual Grand Prix. It's the qualifying for the sprint race where it really counts. So I definitely think he'll gain positions in the sprint race tomorrow. So and then Fernando Alonso, the eyebrow man himself, lines up in P11, just missing out on Q2 by the same amount as Pierre Gasly, around about 4/10. 4/10. He misses out on Q3. Decent season so far from Alonso. He's shown decent pace so far, and throughout the practice sessions, he's shown decent pace. So I definitely think that he also will be up there. I think he'll be around the P10 position, fighting with Sebastian Vettel, who's in P10. I think that they will have a good scrap for P10. Carlos Sainz, who has performed brilliantly, has performed so well in that Ferrari, lines up in P9. Good job from Carlos Sainz. Definitely giving Charles Leclerc a worthy teammate. And he lines up P9. Very great from him. And George Russell, Mr. Saturday, but Mr. Friday this week. George Russell gets into Q3 for the second time in a row. Is it in a? Yes, I believe it's in a row. I believe it's in a row for the first time. It's for the second time in a row. Great job from George. Honestly, he is the qualifier. I'm deciding to give him a qualifier of the day award. It is definitely going to go to George Russell. Great job from George. It's incredible to see him completely outpace that car, because that car doesn't deserve to be there. Like on pure pace, I think it's around P12, P15, around the Q2 elimination zone area. So I don't think that Williams should be up there, but he's pushing it somehow, and it's unbelievable to see. George, he's doing such a good job. So the one of the three Brits outpaces his car and outpaces what we all thought. And P7, who I think George Russell will have a good scrap with, is Daniel Ricciardo, and his teammate in P6 is Lando Norris. The McLaren guys having a very, very good season so far, especially Lando Norris. Has scored in every single round so far this season. The only driver to score in every single round of this entire season. So I think Ricciardo, Norris, and George in the opening stages of the race, because it's a 17-lap race. It's not very long. I think they'll have a good scrap for a while, fighting for those positions. I definitely think that Lando will come up on top, but it'll be so exciting to see this new format and see what these guys can do. So I'm very excited. Lando, I think he will be up there with P5. Actually, I think he might get P4, around that area, but we'll see. Coming out in P5 is Sergio Perez. He would have been P4, but he ran wide in Stowe. I think it's Stowe. Yeah, I believe Stowe. He ran wide in Stowe. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. He ran wide in Stowe and got his lap time deleted. So he starts in P5. Decent season so far for the Mexican in the Red Bull. I think that he is suited to these high-speed circuits. So I think that he will do pretty well for himself. Coming out in P4 is Charles Leclerc. I think that he will be one of them who actually lose positions, because that Ferrari is not extremely good in race pace in a straight line. So I don't know about him. I think he'll actually be in the around P8, around there. I don't really know. It's tough to say. It is tough to say where he will be. But we'll have to see very, very soon. Now going to P3 is Valtteri Bottas. Decent qualifying for the Finn. It wasn't amazing. He said that he could have been on pole, but he actually had to give Lewis the tow for a few laps, and that helped Lewis obviously. So I think that actually Bottas will lose that position more than likely, in my opinion. I think that he'll probably lose that position to someone in the race. Coming out in P2, surprisingly, is Max Verstappen, who has been very good, very consistent this season, and yet he struggled. He struggled pretty badly in qualifying. He actually was a few tenths down on Hamilton. He is almost 2 tenths down on Lewis Hamilton. So that's how close they are. That's how close the Red Bull of Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton are. It's so exciting to see. And Lewis gets pole, obviously gets pole. Starts in P1. So the scrap this entire sprint race. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see how this will turn out. But I personally, since it's such a short race, 17 laps, I think that Lewis will probably win and get pole position for Sunday. But obviously, see, because Max has such good pace around here. He won last year in worse, arguably, actually not arguably, like definitely a worse car than he has this year. So we'll see, obviously. But I'm so excited to see what tomorrow has in store. So today, actually, in a few hours, today has in store. So thank you, everyone. I forgot to give my predictions. I'll just give top 5. I believe P1 will be Lewis. P2 will be Verstappen. P3. I'm gonna give that actually to Bottas. I'm gonna give that to Bottas. P4. I believe it will be Lando. P5, Perez. That's my top 5 predictions. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you in a few hours actually, for the sprint race rundown. So thank you everyone for watching. See you later, and actually see you Sunday as well, for a 3-part series for this weekend. And I actually have a special little thing that will actually probably be permanent throughout this series. So just stay tuned. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.